Get ready for a no BS approach to health and fitness. This is NBS Fitness Radio.
What's up? We're back on NBS Fitness Radio. I am here with Cheyenne. Cheyenne is one of our recovery specialists. She does recovery work in our recovery room. And today we're going to talk about the difference between rest and recovery. So, Cheyenne, what is the difference between?
I think it's really a lot based on what your body needs at the moment. So your whole rest day, that's like you're doing nothing. You are not working out. You are not recovering in any kind of active way. You're not scheduled to do anything. A recovery day, however, is intentionally recovering your muscles, recovering your body, and recovering mentally as well. Really focusing and planning and programming to have that recovery done.
Okay. So how would you know when you need one versus the other?
I think in the beginning, it's very important to program that into your schedule. So
Both?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, it's very important. So like if you are working out 3 times a week, then you need 2 rest days and a recovery day. And that's going to be up to your programming a little bit or your trainer or whatever. But knowing when you need each of them, I think along the way as you develop the feeling for your body and what it needs, I think you'll just know, like you're going to wake up and be like, today's the day where I do nothing. Yeah. And then you're going to wake up and be like, today's the day where I do a walk, a hike, a swim, and some yoga stretching.
Gotcha. So you're saying like when you first start, since you just don't have any reference or like what this is supposed to feel like, you should probably just go ahead and plan them in accordingly. Then you can kind of adjust and see how your body feels, and then you kind of know.
Exactly.
And as your body adjusts, you can add in more training days, and you probably need a few less recovery and rest days.
And then they kind of get segmented towards whatever you're training. So like if you're lifting really heavy the day before, we need to flush certain areas out the next day, or prep for the day after, kind of following some sort of programming with your rest and recovery, just like you do your training, giving it just as much importance and attention as your training. So
how then do you distinguish? Okay, let's assume this person has like been doing it for a little bit. They have some references for how their body feels from different training sessions. How do you distinguish, like, today I feel good to go train, or today I just need to do some recovery work, or today I need to do nothing and have a full rest day?
I think soreness is going to be the biggest dictator in most athletes. If you are like, you get up in the morning and you're like, I'm going to fall out of bed. Like, I'm just not going to make it. I'm not going to make it down the stairs. I'm not going to make it. Like, that is your day to do some active recovery, where your body kind of is going to trick you into being like, let's just lay on the couch all day. Like, we're not doing a darn thing, especially people like working from home and things like that. I think that's going to be their biggest indicator is soreness. If you just went way too hard the day before and you are not going to make it down the stairs, that's the day that your muscles are screaming like, please help us, please refresh us, please revive us, please rejuvenate us. And emotionally and mentally, you're going to feel a lot better and ready to train the next day, as opposed to waiting on the couch and letting those muscles feel that for another 24 hours.
Gotcha. So if you have like extreme muscle soreness, a lot of people, intuitively might say, I'm just going to take the day off.
Exactly.
And you're like, that's a bad strategy, buddy. You got to do something.
You got to move.
Yeah.
You got to move. So I think muscle soreness is probably going to be the biggest indicator for most, just like routine, like training athletes. If you're on a regular program, elite athletes are going to know more about like what parts of their body are going to need focused on as they develop their training and their recovery.
Okay, let me ask you this. So there's days where I'm like, man, my legs feel like crap. They are so sore. But training-wise, we have upper body training.
Yeah.
So in that situation, what would you do? Would you do your normal training, but maybe do a little stuff to kind of help your legs recover?
I think that's probably one of those days, like if you're programmed in to do your upper body that day and your legs are wrecked from the day before, like that's one of those days we start out doing some like myofascial release with the foam roller on the legs. We work our upper body. We make sure we really stretch our upper body because now we have a full system flowing, blood pumping back through, refreshing everything. And then that may be one of those days, like after your upper body, you go hit the recovery room in Normatec boots and get a good pump going through your legs without actually having to work them or asking them to perform in any kind of way.
All right. So then what's an indicator for, hey, I need a rest day? I need a nothing day.
To not take advantage of it, I think is the biggest indicator. Just making sure that you've actually done intentional recovery through the week. And you do have 1 or 2 days a week where it's just like your body can genuinely stay at a static position and rest all day long. Those are kind of going to get handed to you more than you need to plan them per se.
Yeah.
There's just going to be a day where you're like, I can't fit it in. I'm not going to do it. And the importance of that is having it scheduled out. Like, this is my really busy work day. This is going to be my rest day. I'm going to move, even on those rest days, like moving just a little bit, like taking the dog for a walk, something like that, like playing the yard with your kids, like just moving some sort of way. That's your rest. We're good. Call it even. Preparation for like a big lift day or something, you can work that out with your rest day. But if you're just like dead sore, like cannot move, like that's not your rest day. That is your day to pump blood through your body, refresh your muscles, kind of pat yourself on the back that day because you got up and you worked that out. You worked all that soreness and tension out.
Yeah, one thing, so Chris came in, one of our clients came in and trained yesterday. He was just like pretty wrecked from the kettlebell test. His lower back was toast.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know. He had I've been pouring into him the idea of like, hey man, just you can do something.
Yes.
Like, just the win is to prove to yourself you can do something. Yes. And so he came in and he was like, all right, well, we'll do pull-ups. We'll do the Monday workout, but instead of doing swings, we'll do glute bridges. Yeah. Still hitting the posterior chain, but not stressing the back.
Exactly.
And it was a big win for him to kind of be like, oh, even though I'm crazy sore, I could still come in and get something.
You're still
done.
Doing something. And like if that was yesterday, I guarantee today he feels a million times better in that lower back.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you are still coming in and you're giving as much devotion to your recovery as you are to training. It's super unfair to ask your body to do a high performance output and then just leave it alone for a day or 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it is, like your weekends, whatever that is for you. Just like not doing anything when you're sore is the worst possible thing.
So your strategy, or so you're suggesting that, rest days should be basically just planned in. Like you kind of know throughout your week, like this is my family day or this is my hard work day.
Exactly.
And this is the day I'm going to just pre-plan to just not do anything.
Yeah.
And then with regards to recovery days, that's a little bit more subjective to how you feel. There's days where you like, man, like I can't maybe output as high as I've been outputting, but I'm still going to do something today. I'm still going to have a physical goal that I'm going to shoot for. If that physical goal may just be to do lighter movement and focus on getting my body ready to train tomorrow.
Exactly.
Is there a max number of rest days you should take in a week?
That's kind of mixed reviews on that. It depends on how much you're training, really. I mean, you've got these segments of time, these intervals of time. Like if you're asking your body to do really high performance on Monday, and you've got Tuesday just as a light workout day, a little bit cardio, whatever, you only have a certain amount of time in order to recover, in order to ask your body to do that again. And in that time, like that's where you get to kind of trial and error, like what works best for you and your body and your workout routine and just your week, how you are, where you are emotionally, physically, with work, with external factors. So I don't think there's necessarily like a planned amount of time per person is going to vary.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this. I was thinking about this. How many rest days do you take a week?
1.
And it's on
a weekend day.
Yeah.
Mostly a Sunday.
So you have like one planned rest day. I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my strategy as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I don't really ever have a rest day. Like I don't ever sit on the couch. I got 3 kids.
Right.
And
you're active, recovering all the time.
Yeah. We're basically always moving or doing something. Yeah. So like our Sunday rest day, maybe us just going to the park and playing.
Right.
I mean, okay, we might lay on the couch, but they only get to watch 1 hour of TV a week.
Right.
And we almost always reserve it for the weekend.
Yeah.
So like that's the time we might sit on the couch. But
but then how do you feel coming back from like that kind of a rest, pretty active rest day? How do you feel coming back on a Monday?
I usually feel pretty good. Now, my current training routine is Monday through Friday. I get up and I would do what I would call, I do a workout every morning. It's not a hard workout. It's usually like some like mobility stuff, or like, for example, today I got up and I did like a bunch of footwork just to kind of get my feet functioning better. It's not like it's like incredibly neurologic demanding. I don't burn a whole lot of calories.
Right.
Usually I'll do like maybe 10 minutes of some cardio activity. So I'd say those morning workouts kind of wake me up. And so that when I do my midday workout, I'm a lot more fresh.
Right.
I usually feel pretty good on Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I probably feel the best. And then Thursday, Friday, I start to get a little worn down. And then I would say Saturdays, I do my recovery day, in the sense that I'll do one of those little, like one of those morning workouts, but then I don't do a normal workout.
Right.
Typically, sometimes I will, but so I usually feel good. But that being said, if I go like out of town and like this past, like I've gone on like business trips and like sat down all day in business meetings and then for 3 days, and then and it'll be like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then I'll come back home Saturday and Sunday and be with my kids. And then Monday, I'm like, I feel bad.
Right.
Because I haven't moved.
Right. Exactly. Just keep that, like, genuinely keeping the heart pumping blood through your body is just all the difference.
Yeah. When this time, when I went on the trip, I was like, I'm going to do something. So like every day I did like at least a 30 to 45 minute, like
Something.
workout in my room.
Something. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So now you also did 75 hard.
Yes.
But 75 hard is 75 days in a row.
Without rest.
Without rest
Yeah.
and 2 workouts. How did that feel?
That took a minute to realize what I was doing here. When I first started, it was like, let's go hard, like 2 watts a day, like strong lift, like we're going to keep it up. About 2 weeks in, I was like, holy crap, like I need a recovery day and I can't take one. It's 2 45-minute workouts a day. One of them has to be outside. On this program for 75 days straight. And if you goof up on one of them, you're starting over at day 1. I sure as hell was not going to do that. Even after like 2 weeks in, you're like, not happening.
I'm already fourth of the way there. I might as well keep rolling, or fifth of the way there.
So learning to plan and schedule the recovery workouts in instead of like lift and then work out of the day, condition and then cardio, like not back-to-backing them and doing like, as much as I hate the idea of doing yoga, like I called it stretching, doing a stretching session, and then coming in and doing the workout. And the next morning, like going for a walk, like it is exercise. It's 45 minutes outside, like as fast as my dog walks, like that's what we're going to do, Yeah. And so like planning that in about after the week, it was week 2, I think, when I finally was like, oh, that was dumb. It helped a lot. Towards the end, about like 60 something a day, it was like, oh God, I need one of those like full on rest days, like lay on the couch all day. Which I didn't get until 76. But I mean, it was good to know how to schedule it in even around the 2 workouts a day.
How quickly did you feel like you recovered from that stretch? Like, because 75 hard, if you're doing it 2 workouts a day every day, it's going to beat you up and kind of wear you out. It's going to wear your muscular skeletal system out. It's going to wear your nervous system out. So it's going to wear you out psychologically and mentally. Like how quickly did you come back to being, okay, I don't feel the effects anymore?
It's about 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy how much your body can genuinely recover. And like about, I think just one of those days was like active recovery, like shock the crap out of yourself in the cold shower, do a full stretch session, go for a little bike ride. And then the other 2 were just kind of veg out days, and I was back at it, like no problems, like pulling new maxes and stuff. And it's crazy how much your body can really be pushed if you treat it right and if you schedule those recovery increments in.
I think the more like, traditional, I don't say it's traditional, I don't know, like old school thought was like, oh, you have to give your body like 48 hours between your work muscle groups and all this kind of stuff. But then if you ever look at like, buds, Guess what they do all day, every day? Push-ups, sit-ups,
Yeah.
leg flutter kicks, pull-ups,
Exactly.
swim. It's all day, every day.
Exactly.
There's no recovery. It's just
No, but
your
it's
body
using,
adjusts to it.
Yeah, and it's using those certain things like the swim as a recovery.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it's not 100% full hard every time.
Yeah.
And there's times for that, like especially like elite training athletes. I mean, you're asked to do a crap ton of work in 30 minutes, rest 15 minutes, and do it all over again just as hard. But it's about how you can use that 15 minutes now to kind of, especially like the technology we have, you know, to manipulate what our body can naturally do for itself, speed that up so you can ask your body to do it all over again.
Yeah, and we'll talk about kind of technology and strategies here in a second, but I would say like now, my current routine is I do Monday through Friday, I do my morning workouts. Monday through Friday, I do a 12 o'clock workout. That 12 o'clock workout is my hard workout.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my morning workouts are like easy to medium workouts. They're shorter in duration as well. And then I do cold every morning and I do sauna every night, which you could call those, I would call them light workouts.
Yeah. I mean, it's active recovery. You're burning calories.
It's stress.
Yeah.
It's stress, but it's not really calling like muscular skeletal stress. And so what I think is lost sometimes is the idea of like you should have hard days, medium days, or you should have hard stuff, medium stuff, and light stuff. You should have this undulating pattern of work that you do. Every day can't be hard.
Right.
Every day can't be soft. So you need to have this kind of continual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, ideally, you need to move every single day. There should not really be any day that you like. Just, I mean, if you ran a marathon, the next day you can sit on your couch. But most people don't. Most people honestly haven't done anything to actually earn a true rest day. Right. It's you should really have these undulating. I got my hard days, I got my medium days, but you should move every single day. And in doing that, like kind of my current setup is like I feel better than I ever have. Yeah. And I tell people, I'm 36, and I'm kind of like I feel at least 50% more fit and better than I did at 18. Yeah. And people are like, that's impossible. Like you're not like you're at your peak in your teens and your 20s. I'm like, nope. You're in your peak. You're between 35 and 45 if you do it right.
If you do it right, yeah.
Because your body just like learn to adapt, and you've got all this training years on your body. But I feel better now doing all that, more recovered now and more prepared for my hard workouts than I did just doing 12 o'clock only workouts. Yeah. Like I feel better, more rested, more recovered doing more stuff than I did doing less stuff.
Because like you said, you're doing it in that series of easy, medium, hard, easy, medium, hard. Now in those easy workouts, are you able to notice like the imbalances in your body and the differences and like really be aware of them?
Yeah. So like I said, I would say my easy, if you're going to kind of say like, how does David's undulation go? It would go medium. The first thing I do is I wake up and I do like a medium workout. And that might be something like I'll do crossover symmetry. I'll do like elbow pels and rails to get because I got an elbow injury. And then I'll do some like handstand work for 5 minutes. And then I get on the bike for 10 minutes. Yeah. So it's not a like super strenuous thing. Yeah. So I would call that a medium. Then I get into the cold pool, which I would call that a light. Then at 12 o'clock, I do my hard workout. And then at night, I do sauna for 20 minutes, and I call that light. So it goes like medium light, hard light. So my undulation is daily. Yeah. Medium light, hard light. Saturday is just medium or medium light, because I'll do that. And then Sunday is just 2 lights, cold and sauna. So yeah, every day when I do the medium ones, like, because I'm not like, I'm not pushing myself to the max, because my 12 o'clock workouts are, like we're going to do something heavy or we're going to do something hard and fast, or, it's a Metcon. I'm trying to be competitive in those workouts. So sometimes like, there's less awareness of what's going on, But then in the medium workouts, yeah, I'm trying to be very aware of like, how does this muscle feel today? How does this joint feel today? That doesn't feel good. My goal right now is not to like make myself feel worse. What do I need to adjust to make myself feel better?
Right.
So I may be doing some stretching or something and be like, I don't feel good. I'm gonna switch it up,
Yeah.
even though I programmed it or whatever.
And incorporating that into your recovery for that certain area.
Yep.
Like you said, like elbow injury. So like noticing the imbalance in those easy or medium workouts or recovery periods or recovery days for a lot of people. I think that's gonna make the biggest difference in training overall.
Yeah.
Especially when you are going like in those hard, fast, competitive workouts. If you've got that mental idea of like, hey, like this is where my weakness or imbalance is because I've trained it, and then asking it to perform at a high peak performance level or a competitive level, that's going to make all the difference in a lot of people's workouts.
Yeah. I would say I use my medium workouts to target my weak points.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, I got dumb feet. Been wearing shoes for 36 years.
Yeah.
They got dumb. So I'm like, all right, that's a weak point.
Yeah.
You know, since we use the level method, I'm like, man, my weak point is like the ring muscle ups and the handstand push-ups. So that's the kind of stuff I work. I'm not doing ring muscle ups in the morning, but I'm working like the turnover. I'm working like builder movements to just kind of groove those movements and be like, oh, well, this side feels different. This, how do I address that?
And taking awareness of it. I think that's something that a lot of people kind of overlook or are lacking in their recovery is like, oh, like, let's just get through this stretching or let me just foam roll kind of from head to toe.
Yeah.
As opposed to noticing like, wow, like my left leg feels like a tree trunk compared to my right one. You know?
Right.
Like, they just kind of, you see them kind of just sit on the foam roller and they're just kind of going around. I think just being conscientious of the imbalances and differences in your body, especially in those light workouts or on your recovery days, and targeting that.
Yeah, I've heard both. I mean, like I'll ask people all the time, like, what's the best strategy? And I've heard both. Like, cause I've been like, well, if my left leg's tight and my right leg is not, should I stretch both? And I've had people be like, yeah, you should definitely stretch both. Well, I mean, honest, like I find better change when I like figure that one thing that's just constantly nagging me and I hit it every day.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I can feel that change. Versus like if I attack like my entire body every day, like I may hit that spot, but then every day I come back to it, I'm like, it's kind of the same. But like, if I'm like, man, my hip flexor's tight, what I find is a better strategy is like, well, if I stretch my hip flexors every day for like a month, after a month, my hip flexors aren't really that tight anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it's the thing, like that's the thing is like, I think for a lot of people, that's a lot to bite off.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
hey,
to
do
me,
this every day. But to you, it makes sense because then it's just, I mean, it's all gone.
Well, even if it's not every day, I guess like, to me, it's easier to bite off. Let me do this one stretch every day than every day or some days a week do this full body recovery. Like a lot of times the full bodies to me feels like, there's so many that's everything.
Yeah.
You know,
there's
versus
so
I'm like, what's the biggest like maybe my knee is kind of not feeling great, but my shoulder is really what's limiting me. Then what I'll do is for 2 weeks, I'll just focus on my shoulder until it feels better.
Yeah.
And then I'll move to my knee.
Right.
And to me, that's easier to bite off because I focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about strategies. What are some strategies people can use in a recovery day? Like what would that look like?
It's of course going to depend on the person, the workout, the day that you're on or the cycle that you're in. If that's like your easy time, your hard time. I mean, there's everything. There's so much technology now that we can use.
Like what?
So, for example, we've got, in our recovery room here, we've got the Normatec sleeves. Love those. Those are great, like compression devices. They started out in the medical field, really.
Yeah.
Known as like sequential compression device for people who had surgery, were laid up in bed. We needed to move the blood and the lymph through their system. So, coming from that, they started making them into athletic recovery tools. And, we can now speed up that recovery that your body naturally flushes through all of your toxins, all of the lymph that's kind of stagnant in your body after collecting that lactic acid buildup and the soreness. I mean, you feel like you're walking on clouds after it. You've got the sleeves, the boots in there.
So the strategy with the compression sleeves the idea is like we're trying to flush fluids out of an area. You created damage, you created stress to an area, fluid builds up in there, and we need to get that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like hitting the flush button.
Yeah.
Like just flush it through, bring new blood, new oxygen, new nutrients, all
and
of
if
those
your legs
cells.
were sore, you could go do 100 squats.
Exactly, and flush it out.
Yeah, but that's like...
That's taxing and that's load bearing, and you're ending up, you kind of get into that overtraining mode as opposed to letting your body
recover. It's also neurologic, like...
Exactly.
Neurologically, you're just like, oh, I'm tired and like trying to coordinate this versus I can put these boots on and lay down, relax, and get
and
the
it feels
flushing
nice.
effect.
It's basically like a deep tissue compression, and it floods back in. And I mean, just overall, like health benefits of that are amazing. I mean, it's going to keep your system pumping a lot better. Like I said, that's what they use post-surgical patients for, avoiding blood clots.
Yeah.
So you got your Normatec sleeves. You have basic, just like ice and heat, like free sleeve and ice pack. A bag of peas if you're at home, whatever you need to use, just ice and heat. That's going to be more like targeted towards an area if you're doing it like that.
What does ice and heat do?
So we're going to decrease inflammation there.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. Decrease inflammation and then open up the vascularity again to flow. It's all about that blood flow, that flush. Flow some new oxygen, new nutrients back to those tight, sore, stretched out, micro-traumaed muscles.
Let's talk about like acute heat and ice. So this would be things like a heat pack and then the cold packs. Like what would be a prescription,
like a program for that. So I mean, if you're targeting one area, like say you got like a lower back that kind of flared up, you did some squats, didn't feel good, position wasn't perfect. We're like, ooh, that feels really crappy.
Yeah.
We're going to throw ice on it for 15 minutes. After a day of that, every hour, 15 minutes, throw ice on. Couple hours, do that for a whole day. And then we're switching to ice and heat, back and forth, back and forth.
Like in the same session?
Yeah, same session. So you got 15 minutes of ice, 15 minutes of heat. Take an hour, 2 hours off, 15 minutes of ice, 15 minutes of heat. So there's like the small exposures to it to keep your body flushing towards that, your system flushing towards that area that's injured or bothering you or tweaked or whatever it is.
Basically what you're doing is you're like restricting blood flow with the ice and then
flushing it
and then
opening it up
with the heat. So you're kind of getting that flushing effect.
As if you would go work it out again, which is basically what your body's going to do to get rid of all that buildup or tension that you're holding in that area.
I also think I'm sure there's some studies around this. I don't pay attention to a ton of those, but I think there's also a benefit of kind of stimulating pain receptors in that area. You kind of, when you're introducing extreme heat, extreme ice, like the first effect of it is shock. There's like pain receptors that are firing off like crazy, saying, this is cold.
Right.
This is hot. But then eventually you kind of adjust to it. And I think to a degree, there's like this desensitization of the pain receptors within that tissue.
Right.
It comes from working out. And part of the process of like, if you got a sore muscle and you work it out more, you're somewhat desensitizing it. Yeah. But also from the actual ice and heat, I think there's some desensitization.
Oh, for sure. And then the beauty of that though is even if it's desensitized to the ice or to the heat, or even to the pain, once that heat goes back on and floods the new nutrients and blood and oxygen to that area, then you kind of get a new feeling for the pain or for whatever's there. You get to feel it again in a new light, in a new way, and notice if it's better. So like really fine tuning your feeling towards an area. Like we talked about, finding those imbalances and focusing on them. It all kind of comes full circle there.
Yeah, it helps you create a better neuromuscular communication where you can be a little bit more aware of like how things feel. Yeah. And you learn to know, this is really this is a 7-8. Like I don't need to do anything today. And there's some days where you're like, this is a 3-4. Like I'll be aware of it. This pain is talking to me, so I'm aware of it, but I can still get it. And I think, one of the learning curves between someone who's I'm not gonna say like an advanced athlete, but someone who's just been doing it a longer time versus someone who's new. When you first start doing stuff and you've never felt pain associated with, I'm not gonna say pain, well, pain, but discomfort.
Discomfort, yeah.
You know, you're like, okay, well, I've never felt this before. This is bad.
Yeah.
You know, I'm injured.
Yeah.
I've never felt injured before. I assume this is what it feels like. I'm out. And then the more you do it, then you become more aware of like, what is this really on this scale? And like you learn what your body can and can't do.
And
I
what
have
you can tolerate.
Did you ever watch Made? MTV Made?
No, because we grew up like your kids. There was like an hour of TV a week, and that was it.
So MTV Made, it'd always take like it'd always be like maybe someone who wasn't super popular and was overweight, and they wanted to become like the homecoming king or queen or something like that. You know, it was always like someone to be made into something different,
like the full makeover.
Yeah, and it always involved like taking this person who's never worked out a day in their life, and like they'd put them with a trainer who would just kill them for like one workout, or for like 2 weeks. It was a relatively short period of time. And I remember like on day one, every time they'd be like, "I'm dying." And the person's like, "No, you're all right." They're like, "No, I'm literally dying." But like they had never felt their heart rate over 150 for an extended period of time. They just assumed like, well, this is the most uncomfortable I've ever been.
This must be death.
I assume this is as close. I'm close to death.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. But they're like, this is what death feels like.
Yeah. But then, then you get people like that, like get into it and they're so programmed to push past it that they start ignoring everything, all the signals that their body's giving them, like, hey, holy crap, y'all, like we need a rest day, you know, and your body's screaming at you and they're like, no, like I can push past. And that's where injuries happen.
Yeah. It's like the early on, you need to be pushed forward, and later on, you need to be held back.
Pulled back.
Today, maybe we don't go quite so hard.
Yeah,
today,
maybe don't kill yourself today.
All right, what's some other technologies and strategies we can utilize?
Keeping on that heat and ice theme, I mean, as well as anybody, cold tub, ice tub, cold pool, whatever you have at your disposal, sauna.
Cold shower.
You can do that in the shower, exactly. Hot shower, cold shower.
Heat pad.
Yeah, anything like that. Full body submersion in it is really awesome if you are going to do that targeted, like we talked about, like low back, heat and ice. We've got like various forms of manual therapy. So you've got like your percussion massager, which they sell like everywhere now. I mean, like TJ Maxx, $20 percussion massager.
Do they really have one at TJ Maxx?
Yeah, I swear to God. So like, I mean, you've got like your shoulders bothering you and you're like, I just can't loosen it up. Yeah. Put it through a full range of motion, whatever that is. You hit that percussion massager on it, either pre or post workout, and you'll notice a huge difference of that range of motion, from having some sort of manual manipulation to it.
Gotcha. So you use, and I mean, we can kind of go down a general list, but you've got like percussive instruments.
Yeah.
You've got like a foam roller type instrument that you could utilize.
Yeah.
Now that they've got like different, I mean, basically smaller variations of foam rollers.
Yeah.
So it could be like a figure-8 ball or like a lacrosse ball.
Dryer ball if the lacrosse ball's not, cutting it for you. And then you've got, all sorts of like the lay on the acupressure mats and things like that. The pressure points, like the canes that you use, So just like genuinely like pressing into the muscle, releasing the muscle, that myofascial release of letting the tension out, activating it. Yeah. Putting yourself through a full range of motion any kind of way, like stretching, swimming, running, jogging, like those are all therapy forms.
Let me ask you this. What's going on when you're doing like the percussive or the self myofascial release? Like what are we kind of doing through there? What are we trying to achieve?
We're trying to achieve a release of soreness. So as those muscles work, they have little micro tears. And in a perfect system, your body would send a bunch of nice fresh blood to it, pull all the toxins away from it, but we don't have the perfect bodies anymore.
When you say toxins, like what are you specifically referring to?
Everything that's
like,
released on a cellular level.
Metabolic byproducts.
Everything that's released on this cellular level.
Not like
Not like you ate trash and now it's in your muscles.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like
It's metabolic byproducts that haven't
exactly.
been cleared out
Yeah.
of that muscle
Yeah.
tissue. Yeah, yeah.
So on a cellular level, we
Yeah.
have those toxins
Yeah.
resting in our muscles.
Yeah.
They create a little bit of buildup,
Yeah.
especially if we neglect them for so long. Now we have like knots in our back.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. Like we're pressing on them, doing some sort of manual manipulation with a foam roller, a finger, a percussion massager, releasing it. That's going to trigger your body to send healing to that area.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's kind of a couple of strategies I like to use with those types of instruments. One is the push, or like the trying to push blood and fluids in and out. So that's like rolling it across, just kind of getting those long kind of drags on it. Then there's what is like the contraction and release. So like if you've got like a knot somewhere that's very uncomfortable, I'll find that knot with whatever that tool is. I'll contract that tissue against that tool for like 10 seconds and then try to relax it as much as possible. And that kind of helps reduce some of the tone in that muscle. That muscle's kind of turned on and protective
Around that area.
And so that kind of helps it kind of relax, which then gives me back range of motion.
Right.
And then range of motion work, which would be like, let's say I've got it on my IT band or something. I'll find a spot that's like, ooh, that's kind of gnarly. And then I'll try to move the joints upper or lower of that. So I'll like, with it sitting on the side of my leg, I'll bend my knee. I'd like do that. I did this morning with my calf. Like the side of my calf is crazy tight. So like I drag it about 10 times. Then I'll just find like the spot that's like, oop, that's it. I'll do the contraction, relax. And then I'll do that with each spot. And then I'll find kind of where, or I may do the whole length of the muscle, but moving my ankle through it.
Right.
And after that, I'm like, okay, I've reduced my soreness. I don't got that the tension is no longer in that muscle. The muscle tone is kind of relaxed a bit, and now I've got more range of motion that I can now train it through.
Right. Without causing any more inflammation.
Right, without pissing it off more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good strategy for people.
Yeah. Releasing that inflammation for sure is going to be key.
Yeah.
And you've got, basically, like we just talked about, you've got all of that all wrapped into one with like cupping, scraping, Grafton, things like that. Something that somebody else can perform for you. Releasing like a deep tissue massage, chiropractic adjustment, some sort of release for your body. So forms like that is basically going to be like some sort of suction or pull or scrape, like you said, like doing those long lines on your muscles, moving that lymph, manually manipulating the circulation to that area, controlled release to it.
And I find the benefit of having someone else do the manipulation work is that, like, when I'm trying to do it myself, I'm having to engage with it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, I'm having to engage mentally. I am now having to make a mental decision between okay, what's the appropriate amount of pain I want to feel.
Yeah. That's a hard fight in your mind.
And then I'm also just even on a foam roller, you're sitting there holding yourself.
Right.
I got so it's hard to relax everything when I'm having to balance myself on a foam roller. So the nice part about having someone, shout out to Cheyenne, do tissue work for you is that you can actually disengage from and just relax and let them do the work while you actually relax the tissue.
Right.
And then you can follow it back up, the next day or the next night or whatever with some stuff on your own.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to do that and feel with my hands, feel the tension in somebody else and point hey, do you feel it here? It's amazing how spot on you can actually feel it. When you're feeling yourself, you internally, you know where to feel, you know, but having somebody else point it out and be hey, this is out of whack. I think that's that sheds a lot of light on where you are in your feel of your body and how recovered or how sore you are.
And more often than not, there's a lot of times you have transferred pain. It's you're this is where I feel it, but that's not where the issue is.
Your legs are tight and your back hurts.
Yeah, like I feel it here, so then what do? I go deal with that tissue, but it's
Right.
not getting any better because I'm not addressing the real
Right.
cause.
Which is where like the full body does come into play.
And someone else will be like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
This is why your your lower back's bothering you, your legs are bothering you.
Right.
This thing's tight.
Right.
Oh crap! I've been hitting the wrong stuff.
Exactly. Or like I saw a client yesterday, and the same thing. Like she's like, my low back is killing me. I'm like, it's really your erectors. Like they are so punched out all the time. Like you are just not up and down your erectors.
Yeah.
And it's pulling those gluteal attachments, and that's why you feel it in your deadlift or your squat or whatever.
And I think that goes back to like why it's nice to have a guide or some type of team, someone else other than yourself to kind of like help you get through whatever it is, even recovery. You know, there's people who are experts at what they do, and it's better to let the experts guide you through whatever that guide you towards that goal that you're trying to achieve. Yeah. Whether it be performance and or recovery.
Right. Yeah. Or even just maintaining like a healthy, good feeling body. Yeah. I mean, you can be healthy, you can be fit, but you can feel like crap. Yeah. And in order to like kind of make you a well-rounded person, it's devoting that much time to your recovery as it is that much time to your workout.
Yeah. It's being aware that the only solution is not like hit the gas harder.
Right.
Right.
Know?
It's not just go more. And I think there's just a reality that like, hey man, if you spent 40, 50 years like not doing a whole lot of stuff and you just sat in a chair, like that's a big shift.
It's a huge transition for your body to make.
Yeah. And it's gonna respond to that with some kind of aches and pains, you know, and that's that's where having someone who can kind of like talk you through it, and you're not just like in this state of like, oh, my body's broken or you know, whatever. And someone's like, well, like let's talk about why. Let's educate you on why this is the case, so that now you can be more aware. And you might do something where you're like, oh, okay, well, it's because I slouch all the time. If I'd sit up a little bit more, now I'm aware of that.
Right. And so often, I mean, I see it a lot with like shoulder problems. Like, oh man, it's always my right shoulder. I don't know what I do on it. I'm like, do you sleep on it? And like 99% of the time, it's like, oh, yeah, I do, you know? And just like somebody else. A third of my
life like this.
Exactly. And just somebody else pointing it out, or like, my wrist hurts. Do you type at a desk all day? Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. You know, is that your mouse hand? Yeah, it is. You know, just like somebody else pointing that out for you and kind of outlining like, hey, this may be what's actually going on. Let's fix it. As opposed to you just being like, man, I just have a bum wrist. Yeah. I think that's probably the most helpful thing that anybody, whether you're, I mean, peak performance athlete or you're just training to maintain, anybody's going to appreciate that point out.
1,000%. I think that brings up a good final point of like how you can improve rest and recovery is sleep.
Yes.
As much as we
sleep,
you know, always want that. What's the quick fix? What's the tool I can buy? And sometimes it's just like you don't sleep very good. You know why? Because you watch Netflix at night,
right?
And you sit on your phone for another 30 minutes, and then you have your phone beside your bed, and
then when you wake up in the middle of the night, you reach straight for the technology again. Yeah.
I think the best strategies for sleep is like, man, you gotta get the phone out of the room. You gotta get it out. You gotta have like a work down of stimulus. Yeah. So you think like your phone is all stimulus. So it's like you're seeing, you're hearing, you're feeling. You know, the sooner we can get that phone out of our hands and start to kind of come down from that, the better. So like even phone to TV, but like actual TV, which is just hearing and seeing, is a step down. Or you could do reading, where you're not getting the light stimulus, which is seeing and touch, but no hearing. Or you could do music, which is hearing but no touching or seeing. And then like removing yourself from light sources as soon as possible. I mean, like start to like dim your lights or turn lights down, and like have like I said, like a work down. Yeah. So if you can go from like phone to, if you want to watch TV, you can. But phone, TV, reading, cold shower, jump in bed, go to sleep. Yeah. Blacked out room. You can have a noise machine, no TV. Jake, and and then a phone in another room.
Yeah.
Everyone's always like, well, that's my alarm clock. I'm like, buy an alarm clock. Yeah.
Well, it's just also like creating a system. Like when you're a kid and you have like a bedtime routine, like your body naturally goes to sleep. Like I don't remember like laying awake at night as a kid. You know what I mean? Because you had a bedtime routine.
Yeah.
So like creating that for you as an adult and like creating a safe space for your mind to turn off, I think is a huge part. Like your body naturally wants to recover. We are made to do things to recover, like sleep, eat, hydrate, work and move, you know? So sleep being one of those is like one of the big things that you have to do what's right, like what your body's calling for.
Yeah.
It wants to sleep. You are tired. You know, like none of us walk around bright-eyed and bushy-tailed anymore. Like you are tired. Give your body the sleep that it needs, but set it up properly.
And if you've ever been camping, like you'll realize like your bedtime's really like 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like you're camping.
Yeah.
And you don't have, you like did stuff all day. You did physical activity all day. So it kind of wore you out. Then you had a good big meal.
Yes.
That makes you feel satisfied. And then it goes dark outside.
And you have that natural circadian rhythm kick in.
Like,
you're like,
I'm ready to go to sleep.
Yeah. And it's different for everybody. Like your rhythm's going to be different. Like you may be at 8, I may be at 8:30. You know, somebody else may be 9, but just like having that routine established.
Yeah. Having that routine established and having that kind of like having the same bedtime, same wake up time every day. But when people are always like, I'm a night owl, I'm like, no one's a night owl. Like, I promise you're not a night owl if you go on a backpacking trip. Yeah. I've never seen anyone stay up till 11 o'clock on a backpacking trip. Because, I mean, even in the summertime, it's dark at 8.
Right.
And so, like, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was like, this is young. I think I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
And you sleep from, like, 9 to 6.
Right, when the birds start chirping, you're up.
9 hours.
Yeah,
exactly. You get a good, solid night's sleep. You feel like a champ. So, it's usually, in the wintertime, it's cold outside. Hold it up in your camping, in your, bag. But that just goes to show, like, a lot of sleep issues are caused by all the lights and the technology that we're constantly surrounding ourselves with. It's like
we're sabotaging our own sleep at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, like as much production as you want to get done, like a lot of people are going to fall asleep on their laptop with the TV on the background, their phone buzzing, and they're falling asleep working. And it's like you are just sabotaging the crap out of yourself because now you're not going to have a restful night's sleep. Yep. You're going to wake up and you're trying to get all that work done that you half groggily did the night before. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's not productive at the end of the day.
Yeah. It would be more productive to have like, I'm going to take this time to prepare myself for a good night's sleep.
Right.
So that tomorrow I'm going to have,
don't have to worry about it.
I'm going to have 16 hours of energy.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah. Right on. All right. Any final words, Cheyenne?
Just listen to your body, do what you know that you need to do. Do the right thing.
Love it. All right.
Awesome. Thanks.
MBS Fitness Radio out.
Thank you for listening to NBS Fitness Radio. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and check out our website at www.nbsfitness.net. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next time for more NBS Fitness Radio.